Paul Musso, guys, Realty Connect, and I'm here with Stacey. We are in the Hauppauge office, and we are blessed enough to have Michelle here from Heller Associates. She's been working tax grievance for us for
about 15
gazillion years.
I think forever, it feels like.
A gazillion years.
It feels like almost as long as I've known you.
Right.
There you go.
And she's been our go-to. She's been our go-to for us. She's been our go-to to the company. So we're really happy to have you.
It's been a great relationship.
And some of the stuff's going to be dated because we're going to talk about dates because some of the stuff's going to be time sensitive.
Right.
So, but I guess more importantly, we're going to talk about how did you get into the business? We want to talk on that a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you? What made you?
I think I had a friend that was friends with the owner of my company, and he said he was looking for someone to do kind of like outside sales and really talk to realtors and start developing the business through real estate agents because it's such a great tool for realtors, and you guys are all such a great resource for us. A lot of people don't realize how well we really work together to help homeowners, right? We're all like, our goal is to help homeowners, buyers, sellers, people that, are just trying to keep more of their money every year, right?
Right.
And so I came on board with him. Yeah, it's been about 15 years. And, I used to walk around with a stack of folders and knock on real estate office doors. And now here it is, 15 years later. And the agents and brokers that I work with have become like great friends and built great relationships. So it's been fun. And I can't believe that it's been 15 years that I've been doing this.
Time really goes by quickly.
Time flies.
Yeah, sure does. No kidding.
So through the process of meeting people and having a lot of these videos that we've been sending out, we've had a lot of questions come in. So Stacey's gonna kind of.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely start. So on a personal note, I did have my taxes grieved at one point.
Very good.
Yes, but
people should do it every year.
Yeah, I was
every year.
Okay, so I'm glad that you said that because
Yeah.
I was going to ask when can I do it again.
Yeah.
So I will do it again. But how do you decide whether a property is overassessed or not?
Okay, so what a lot of people don't realize, and part of the reason why I say to do it every year, is there's a variety of factors that can change from year to year and impact somebody's ability to qualify.
Okay.
So you might not have a case one year. We might look at your property. There's a number that's assigned to every home that's, an assessed value. That value doesn't ever change unless there's an improvement to the property that required a permit or something, so that will improve the value. Or if there's a successful tax grievance, it's going to reduce that number. So that assessed value number is multiplied by your tax rate and generates your tax bill. So you want that number to be as low as possible.
Okay.
So even if your tax rates go up, it's still, you want it based on the lowest base number as possible, right? So if everyone's taxes are going up $1,000, but you grieved, maybe yours will go up only $800 instead of $1,000. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's important to keep that number as low as possible. Every year, there's a magic number, let's call it, that's delivered by New York State that turns that assessment into your taxable market value. That number can change from year to year. So the value that you're being taxed at can change from year to year based on that number. So it's a little complicated. People don't realize that.
Right.
So when the real estate market is really great, people think, oh, I'm never going to qualify. My home's worth so much money right now. Those magic numbers that I mentioned, they change to reflect that higher value.
Right.
And very often now you will qualify for a reduction. So every home is different. One year you might not have a case, but then with nothing else changing except that magic number, you might suddenly have a case for a reduction.
Oh, that's great to know. I had no idea.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize what's involved. So
Yeah.
you should try every year. There's never anything to lose by trying. So many people, I know like on Long Island, a lot of people have, things that maybe the town doesn't know about. They have an accessory apartment, they have, a shed, and they're afraid to like have someone come to their property. Unless you have open permits, filing a grievance does not raise any flags like that. No one comes to your house from our office or from the town. So I can advise people specifically if they have situations that they're concerned about. But a lot of people don't grieve because they're afraid. And it is against New York State law for them to raise your taxes just because you filed a grievance. So it can't hurt somebody.
Okay, so it can only help.
Don't be afraid. It can only help. Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, good to know.
Is there in terms of dates, like, is there like a typical time where people should start saying to themselves, I gotta get this done?
Yeah, so I tell people, do it while you're thinking about it,
Got it.
but there are deadlines that are important. So We have a deadline coming up in Nassau County. They did just extend it, so a lot of people don't realize this. They've done it a few times, but not very often. So Nassau County, April 1st will be the last opportunity for Nassau homeowners to grieve their 2026-27 tax bills, tax assessments. So if you miss that deadline and you're being overtaxed, you're going to overpay until 2027-28. There's nothing else that can be done about it. So don't miss the deadline.
Okay.
In Suffolk County, the deadline is always the third Tuesday in May. It's going to be May 20th this year.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of time, but as we said earlier, time goes quick. So I do tell people, do it while you're thinking about it, because it never fails. Every single year, it'll be 11:59 p.m. and I'll get a text from someone, Michelle, I forgot to send in my application.
So
is it too late? I said, no, you're just super early for next year. Like the first person. So yeah, don't miss the deadline.
So what is that deadline? Is it really like midnight?
It's close of business because the towns, they close their offices. So I say
close
noon. I try to say get it in by, listen, don't wait till the last day.
Right.
Please don't wait till the last day. But it happens.
Where do you get the application? Is it on your website?
Yeah, our website has, oh gosh, people don't realize how easy it is. They think, oh, I have to get my copy of my tax bill. I don't have my section block and lot. We don't need any of that. It literally takes probably less than a minute to fill it out online on our website. And people just need their contact information, email address, phone number, property address. It's an electronic signature. And if they're working with their realtor, you guys offer them a referral code. There's a discount code that they can put in. And that's it. They'll instantly get a savings. We'll instantly have their application. Then that is literally all they have to do. We handle everything from that point on, including court hearings and things like that are often required to actually win a reduction.
Very cool.
Yeah, we take it from there. There's nothing else they need to do.
Silly question, you handle just Nassau, Suffolk, or the whole state?
So we do residential properties, 1 to 4 family homes in Nassau and Suffolk only.
Okay.
Commercial buildings we can do, like the tri-state area, larger commercial properties. We would do the whole tri-state.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You mentioned that there's a discount, but what does it cost someone to grieve their taxes?
So that's a great question. So there's kind of some industry standards, but some companies do charge certain fees up front. We don't, so there's no fee up front at all, and we don't charge any fees at all if we don't actually reduce the taxes. So, like I was saying earlier, there's really nothing to lose by trying. We only will, charge you if we win. And it's usually half of the first year's savings. So if we save you $1,000 a year, your fee is going to be half of that savings. And then if we go to court, there's a court filing fee that will $30 that we'll pass on only if we're successful. We pay it no matter what.
Oh, wow.
So we'll pass that on if we're successful.
Awesome.
So yeah, so it's a pretty easy, simple thing, like I said, and there's nothing to lose by trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think tax grievance can potentially help a seller of a property?
That's a great question, because again, a lot of sellers might be reluctant and think, well, I'm selling my property. Why would I want to start a tax grievance that I might have to pay, to have resolved if I'm not even going to own the home anymore? So making your taxes, let me give you an example.
Okay.
There's 2 homes that are right next door to each other. They're the exact same property, same town, same school, exact same home, right? And they're both listed for $700,000. But one has taxes that are $18,000 and one has taxes that are $16,000. Which one's going to sell faster?
Right.
The one with the lower taxes. It does help make your property more attractive to a prospective buyer. And because the tax grievance process is relatively lengthy, it's 12 to 18 months to resolve. When a seller starts a grievance process with us, I will give the agent and the seller a letter for their listing that shows that we're in the process of professionally grieving the taxes, what we estimate the reduction will be, and note that the case will transfer to the buyer once the buyer's in contract. So the buyer actually ends up paying the fee. They're reaping the benefit of the lower taxes.
Right.
But the seller is really doing a huge service to the buyer, because if they miss that deadline, the buyer is going to be overpaying those taxes for another year, 2 years, depending if it's in Nassau or Suffolk. So you're really doing a service to the buyer, and it's helping, it's helping the seller make their home more attractive.
Sure. It's
helping the agent market the property. So this way, it's kind of, again, something that benefits everyone.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win for everyone. And, I used to say, like, you think, just the town is going to lose because they're getting less money. They don't get less money. They have a budget and they're getting the money from somewhere, right? It just matters. You want them to get as little of it as possible from you, right?
Absolutely, yes.
But they're getting their money, so everybody wins.
Are you ever in a position where, let's say, if somebody doesn't agree with the taxes this year, and because you mentioned the adjustment and now the town's figured out that they could get it done this year based on the numbers, and then next year they miss out.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely possible. If you might have qualified for a reduction had you applied for
Now.
this deadline, and changes in the real estate market, changes in these magic assessment ratios
Right.
could all impact your ability to qualify, and now you might not even have a case next year.
And,
I'll
and,
tell
and
you.
that theoretically, so if you could get it done this year, and let's say that savings was $2,000 a
Right.
year, that could now,
Right.
Right.
And imagine, so when you reduce that
Compound that
assessment number, if you reduce it, say it's a $2,000 savings for this year that they applied for, as the tax rate increases, that savings number actually grows over
Right,
time
right.
because it's
Yes.
forever on a lower
right.
base.
So it's 2,000, it could be 2,100 next year,
100%.
2,150 the following year, 20. Right.
Probably more than that.
Right,
But
right,
exactly
right,
right.
right.
But that's exactly
Being
right.
conservative,
Yeah,
right, right.
that's exactly right. So yeah, it's can't ever hurt to try.
Right.
And a little statistic that a lot of people don't realize: homeowners that grieve their taxes every single year pay on average 25% less than homeowners that
Oh,
don't.
wow, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
That's some great
So
statistics.
that's why some people might say, well, how come some people will call me and say, hey, Michelle, you might say, can you look at my property? Let me know if I qualify for a reduction. And I'll tell them, no, your assessment's fair this year. This is what you're being taxed at. This is the market value of your property right now. So you're fair for this year. And they'll say, well, my neighbor pays, $2,000 a year less than me. Your neighbor's lucky. They're underassessed. So a neighbor's property is not an argument for a reduction.
Right.
It's not an indication of what your taxes should be.
Right.
There are a lot of homes that are underassessed, and my bet it's because that person grieved their taxes somewhere along the line, either every year like they should, or when they just had a really good year because either the real estate market values went down or because the magic assessment
Assessment
ratios
number went
changed.
down.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Just timing.
Yeah, so just because your neighbors are paying less doesn't mean that you're overpaying.
Right.
So that's a common misconception that people have.
Right.
So again, let's keep pushing that date. April 1st for Nassau County.
April 1st for Nassau
and
County.
May 20th for
Yeah,
Suffolk. Let's
and
not
they-
forget
Yeah,
that.
exactly. No, those are important deadlines for people to remember because, so in Suffolk County, when someone grieves their taxes, there's a little bit of a difference in Suffolk. So Suffolk homeowners, when they grieve before May 20th, that's for the 2025-26 tax year.
Okay.
These cases do take 12 to 18 months to resolve. So they won't be resolved until the first half, let's say, of 2026. But Suffolk County homeowners will get refunds of whatever they overpaid from the October
Got it.
2025 school tax bill to the time the case is resolved. So they'll either
That's
get a
nice.
credit on the next tax bill if it's recorded in time. A lot of times it's not. So they do eventually wind up getting a refund check for that overpayment.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
Nassau, though, grieving so far into the future, they adjust the tax bill, but that's
But
even
Suffolk County, they pay back.
and something they pay back. Exactly. Yeah.
So buyers need to know also, right, when they get into their new home, that they should definitely jump on this and start to grieve their
Yeah.
taxes.
I'll tell you a little tip also, what
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize. A buyer can actually start the grievance process while they're in contract.
Oh, wow.
They don't have to wait for closing. So I usually say do it when you're in contract. Just one less thing to worry about or to forget about. You don't have to worry about missing the deadlines. So a buyer can legally start the grievance process. And if something happened for some reason and they didn't close the property, we can withdraw it. But
Okay.
yeah,
That's a good
so,
point that you
yeah,
can
it's
withdraw
fine,
it.
but that rarely, if ever, happens. So yeah, a buyer can start the process, and they should. And I say, like, when someone does close on a property, they should apply for. I'm not an expert in exemptions and STAR. I know a little bit about it because it's taxes and people ask me a lot of questions. So I've learned a bit over the last 15 years.
Right.
So for a STAR, they can't actually apply for any STAR, any other exemptions until they close. But I say at least part of like your checklist when you purchase a property, apply for your exemptions, any that you might qualify for, apply for your tax grievance. And a lot of people, this is a good tip too, guys, especially for homeowners that you might know that aren't ready to sell quite yet, but they're going to in the next year or two. Grieve the taxes now. I find that it's especially homeowners that do have a lot of exemptions. Maybe they have the enhanced STAR,
Right.
maybe they have the senior enhanced STAR, the veterans exemptions. if they have those exemptions, they don't grieve the taxes often because they think, I don't pay that much, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
they don't even think
They don't
about
wanna rock
grieving.
the boat.
So
But
they
then
can start they can start that out.
they should, because then you guys, when you're ready
Yeah.
to list their property and you have to list the true taxes without these exemptions,
Those taxes
very
are through
often
the
they're
roof.
through the roof because they didn't realize that how much they were really being assessed for.
Right.
So I say those people especially grieve those taxes and make sure that they are in line so that it'll still reduce your tax burden now a little bit. It's still
Right,
going to help
of
you,
course.
but especially if and when you're ready to sell, it's going to help make it that much easier at that time because listen, it's Long Island, taxes are high. They're a
And
huge
taxes will definitely
deterrent
go
in a
up.
sale of a property. You know, they can really make a sale difficult or cause the homeowner to get less money for their home because a buyer has to like contend with these huge tax
Taxes.
bill now, you know?
Right.
So it really is just so beneficial for people to do that. Veterans and all those exemptions, how I try to explain it to them is that an exemption is attached to the person that lives in the home.
Okay.
They either qualify or they don't.
Right.
And when they move, they have to apply again for those exemptions. A tax grievance is assigned to the actual home itself. It's about the actual home. So you should apply for all of those things. And you
Right.
should get as many of them as you can, you know? So do both. Don't just think I have a lot of exemptions, I don't pay that much, I'm not gonna grieve. Grieve anyway.
Okay. What about taxes on new construction?
Oh, that's a great question. I always tell realtors that are listing or have a buyer for new construction, don't just go with what the builder says the taxes are going to be, because they might have built another home the year before in the same neighborhood and said, oh, those were 12, these are going to be 12. So I can calculate new construction tax bills, and they're relatively accurate. So if anyone has a question on that, they can always call me. I'm going to use the current available tax rate, magic assessment ratio number, you know, all those things. I
Okay.
can only use current available information, but I can translate that sale price into a tax bill and let people know what they can actually expect to receive as taxes. Yeah. Mhm. Same with improvements on properties. Say you have a buyer and they love a home, but in order to make it work for them, they're going to need to expand, you know, build up or build out and add square footage.
You give them an idea.
And they're nervous, I can let them know what that impact
can
might
be
be
like.
on them. And same when there's a home that someone's buying and there's no CO for a finished basement.
Right.
Like, people panic sometimes. What's that going to do to the tax bill? Sometimes there's circumstances where if the home is overassessed, it'll allow them to get all those COs in order and have no impact on the tax bill. And they can
Right.
still have a reduction. So it always pays to ask me, you know?
Yes.
I can give you all the details. It's not always bad news. Sometimes it's good news, actually.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in to
Thanks
talk
for
to
having
us.
me. I love
And
talking about this.
I know, I could tell you're very passionate about
Yeah.
it, and but it's been very helpful because, you know, we don't often ask these questions. We
Right.
don't know. We make assumptions.
Right.
So you really did shed a lot of light on the
Yeah.
topic.
I'm glad. I'm glad
Me
to
too.
help. Yeah, taxes are a scary topic for a lot of
They
people.
are. We don't even want to talk about it, right?
When people don't know, it's
Right. What you don't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll just say, I don't want to stir the pot. I don't want anyone to. What if they find out I'm underassessed?
Right.
I'm not paying enough. They're going to raise me.
that's a good point you said, because
Can't
most
do
people
that.
think the towns will come knocking on your door.
Right.
Once you file for it, that's
Yeah.
not.
Definitely.
That's not
They
the
don't
case.
have the time or the manpower to do that. And by the way, so each town in Suffolk has its own assessor. They're not allowed to reassess any single property without reassessing every property in the entire town.
Oh, wow.
So in the time that I've been doing this, 15 years, that's never happened. They don't have the time and the manpower to do
Sure.
that. So really, that's why sometimes you'll see some neighbors that have super low taxes because they grieved and it
grieving
doesn't get reassessed again. So that's why I was saying earlier, it really just pays to do it every year. There's nothing to lose by trying. And eventually, you're going to have a lower tax bill.
I mean, obviously, by them filing the grievance, or you filing the grievance on behalf of the homeowner, the simple town can either accept it or deny it.
Yeah, they're going, most probably 99.9% of the time, they are going to deny it, especially in Suffolk County. Once we file the grievance, they only have a small window to actually review every single grievance application that they receive.
Got it.
So they basically just deny everything and say, no, we're assessing you fairly. If you disagree with this, you can file an appeal.
Got it.
And that's where the appeal process comes in, the court process. That is what makes
That
the
takes
process
time.
so lengthy, but that's where you're going to win. You have to file an appeal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So when a
That's
homeowner
what I
says,
didn't
I
do."
tried, they said I was
Yes.
fair, did you file an appeal? Did you have a court hearing?
And that's-
Then you probably, it doesn't mean you were fair.
Right.
You know, it means that you needed further processes to help win that reduction.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And a little tip for Nassau homeowners. So homeowners can certainly apply for a grievance on their own. They don't need to hire a company to do that. I hire my own company to grieve my taxes because they know when a homeowner is applying on their own, and they know when it's a professional tax grievance company applying on their behalf. Nassau County will very often offer homeowners a reduction. And many times I'll have a selling agent call me and say, Michelle, I have this property listed. They got this letter from the county. The homeowner applied on their own. They're making them this offer. I'd love to post on the listing that the taxes are coming down. Can you let me know if this makes sense? And every single time I would say, this offer is nowhere near anything that we would accept on behalf of one of our clients. So
Amazing.
they'll still give you something, and a lot of homeowners mistakenly celebrate, like, I want a reduction and I didn't have to pay anyone, not realizing that they saved $1,000, right? And they didn't have to pay anyone.
And you might
They
have got
would-
$3,000.
we would have saved them $3,000. They would have paid, say, $1,500,
Right.
but they still would have been saving $1,500 from the get-go,
Right.
and then
Right.
$3,000 every year
Right.
or more. So it's a big mistake that people make.
Right.
Yep.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So Michelle, what's the success rate for tax grievances?
Good question.
Yeah,
Great question.
that is a really
Yeah,
good question. And I get asked that often.
Okay.
Homeowners that are talking to me about whether or not they want to use us to grieve their taxes, they say, well, what's your success rate? And what's the average savings that you would save somebody? So it's a difficult question to answer because I'll say when we take a case to court, our success rate is 99%. Like we're unless there's things there could be things that we don't know about,
Right.
permit issues and things like that that weren't aware of. But if we take a case to court, we're paying to go there. We're certain that we're going to win. But we also tell homeowners just apply every year. So once someone's our customer, we'll tell them every year, hey, it's time, get your application in again. And sometimes there's not going to be a case. There's just no way they're going to qualify for a reduction. So it's hard to say. We can have 10,000 applications, and 5,000 of them might have had absolutely no
chance.
merit for a reduction.
Right.
Maybe they're underassessed. If we've hopefully reduced their assessment in the past,
Right.
this year they're going to be good now.
Right.
But the cases that we take to court, if I tell someone that you have a case and that I believe if I give them an estimated reduction amount, it's conservative, and we're going to win. So I will tell you guys this. I mentioned that someone might say, what's the average savings? I usually say if I took all of our cases and broke it down over every single home that we successfully reduced, maybe it's $2,500 a year. Some might be saving $6,000, some might be $300. But if we can win, even if it's $300, if we're going to save you, we're going to do it.
Sure.
But we do hold the record. You guys would be shocked at some of the reduction amounts that we win. So before last year, we did hold the record for the largest residential reductions in Suffolk. It was a little over $17,000 a year in savings.
Oh my goodness.
And there was a few cases like that. We still have, $16,000, $17,000 very often. Last year we resolved a case with over $29,000 a year in savings. In Nassau County, the record reduction on a residential property was $73,000 a year. So obviously these are multi-million-dollar homes.
Right.
But the point is, there's a lot of homes that are overassessed and qualify for huge reductions. So I'm working very often with realtors, helping them help their sellers and their buyers, and I would look at properties that are for sale or going to be listed for sale all day long, every day, including the weekends, all day. That's what I'm looking at. And you would be surprised at how often there's a $10,000 reduction. I'm working on a property for a Realty Connect agent that has over a $30,000 a year reduction. So
Wow.
There's a lot of
Lots of
money that
numbers.
people are just giving away to the county, to the towns, and they don't even realize.
Right.
So it's get the
It's amazing.
information, apply every year, check every year, because you never know.
The reality costs you nothing to apply.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Minutes, right?
Minutes, yeah.
A minute probably.
Right.
A minute.
Exactly.
Probably a minute.
A minute to fill an application. A minute, yeah, or less. Yeah.
Go back to those exemptions by the town.
Right.
What's the senior exemption?
So the senior
the age,
star,
I guess?
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, that's not my
Which one is
area. Yeah, right. Exactly. Because we said we've known each other for
Yeah,
40 years. Now all of a sudden we're seniors.
Use the money here.
Funny, Stacey. So Exemptions not my area of expertise,
Right.
but I always direct people to, there's a STAR Resource Center website that I share with everyone that I think could benefit from it or needs to apply.
Okay.
So I always share that information with them.
yeah,
and I
read
could give that to you guys
Yes,
to share with
thank
your
you.
buyers and sellers.
It's amazing.
And there is age restrictions, and it's usually one person in the home on the deed has to be a certain age, and also income limitations. So I don't know exactly what that number is, and it does change a little bit from year to year.
Okay.
So there's some income limitations, but there's a senior enhanced STAR significantly reduces the school portion of the tax bill, and that's the major portion of everyone's tax bill. So it can have some significant savings for people that qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Good
great to
stuff.
know that there's a STAR website as
Yeah.
a resource for
Yes.
people.
Yep. They can
Good.
apply on the website and everything.
Oh, wow. Good. And you don't automatically get that exemption, so you have to apply.
Exactly. You do have to apply. So as soon as you move, if you had it before, and I've met with people that had the exemption in one house, sold and moved to another house, didn't know they had to apply again. And if you miss the deadline for that, you don't get it. And so, especially when it's someone that is a senior with enhanced STAR,
That's
if they
it,
have a
right,
lower income, and now they're stuck paying
Stuck
this
paying those
tax
taxes.
bill that they didn't know they couldn't. So it's a great tool for realtors to just keep in their, follow up. Yeah, to let everyone know when they just buy a property, apply for any exemptions that you qualify for, and apply for a grievance,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
Good
it
stuff. A lot of
is.
good
Thank
information
you.
today.
Yeah, we-
Thanks, guys.
Definitely. So, guys, if you can,
Yeah.
let everybody else know how they can reach you. Phone number.
Yeah, terrific. So I have my business cell. I can be reached anytime. Call or text is 516-361-0001. I'm Michelle at HC Grieve, Michelle with one L. So when people say, I emailed you, I'm like, well, you used two L's, I didn't get it. Heller Consultants Tax Grievance, our company. That's our website also, hellertaxgrievance.com. And I'm always happy to answer any questions
she's
for
always
anyone.
available. You are always
I do my
available,
best to always be available. And call, text anytime. And like I said, even weekends, evenings, it doesn't matter. I know it's something that people think of. And if it's 10 o'clock at night, I might not answer you until the morning. But
Right.
at least you sent it. I say, do it while you're thinking of it. That's my motto, right?
Yep. Thank
You want
you.
to give those dates one last time?
Yeah. So grievance deadlines are approaching. It's very important that people do not miss these deadlines. The Nassau County tax grievance deadline was just extended to April 1st. That will be the last opportunity for homeowners to reduce their 2026-27 tax bills. So apply by April 1st if you're in Nassau County. Suffolk County, the tax grievance deadline is May 20th, and that is for the 2025-26 tax year. So apply by May 20th if you're in Suffolk County.
Awesome.
Will do.
Guys, good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm really
thank
happy
you.
you came
Thanks for
out
having
there.
me. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, follow us, and we look for the future. God bless, and thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.